I'm Sandra, 28, standing in the grandeur of my $45 million waterfront villa in Palm Beach. It's hard to believe that just 24 hours ago, I was sobbing in my car, homeless and heartbroken after my father's furious outburst. The memory of that rainy night still stings, but it's a far cry from the life I've built here. I grew up in a cozy bungalow in a small town in Ohio. My father, Henry, was a hard, working factory worker. He was a man of strict principles, believing that a stable job and a practical career were the keys to a successful life. He spent his days on the factory floor, coming home tired but always ready to enforce his rules. My mother, Lily, was the complete opposite. She was an artist, full of warmth and creativity. She painted beautiful landscapes in her free time and always encouraged my love for art. When I was 16, my mother passed away from a sudden illness. That was when my father changed. He became even more rigid, as if trying to hold on to the last shreds of normalcy through strict discipline. My older brother, Ethan, took after my father. He studied engineering at a top-tier university and landed a high-paying job in the city. In my father's eyes, Ethan was the perfect son. I, on the other hand, was drawn to the world of art. I spent hours in my room, sketching and painting. After high school, I got a partial scholarship to study art history at a local college. My father tolerated it, but only because I had a boyfriend, Jake, who was studying business. Jake was my father's idea of an ideal partner, someone with a practical career path. After graduation, Jake moved to another state for a better job opportunity, and our relationship ended. I, however, landed a job at a small art gallery in town. The pay was meager, but I loved every moment of it. I was surrounded by beautiful art, cataloging collections, and helping with exhibitions. My father couldn't understand why I'd choose such a low-paying job when I could have gone into something more practical. 6 months ago, a woman named Vera entered our lives. My father met her at a community event. Vera was 45, a businesswoman with a sharp tongue and a knack for getting what she wanted. She had a sleek appearance and an air of confidence. Within weeks, she was a regular at our house, and within 2 months, she had moved in. From the start, I felt something was off about Vera. She was overly sweet to my father but cold and dismissive towards me. She started to change things around the house. She redecorated the living room, getting rid of my mother's paintings and replacing them with modern art that had no personal meaning. She also criticized my lifestyle, saying that my art-related purchases were a waste of money. One day, I received a small inheritance from my maternal grandfather. I was excited to use it to further my art career, perhaps take some advanced courses. But Vera found out and convinced my father that I should start contributing to the household expenses. Reluctantly, I agreed, even though it meant delaying my dreams. Then, I started noticing that some of my mother's jewelry was missing. When I asked Vera about it, she claimed that my father had given it to her, saying that my mother would have wanted her to have it. I knew it was a lie, but when I confronted my father, he seemed confused, repeating Vera's words. I called Ethan, desperate for an ally. But he told me that I was being paranoid and that my father was happy for the first time in years. I felt completely alone. One fateful day at work, I was helping with some financial paperwork and noticed a large transfer from my father's account to Vera's. I investigated further and found out that she had been systematically draining my father's savings. When I confronted her at home, she tried to cover it up, saying that it was for their future plans. She even deleted the evidence I had collected on my phone. Later, she showed up with a fake bruise on her face and told my father that I had attacked her. My father, in a fit of rage, believed her and threw me out of the house. I drove away in the rain, my heart broken, not knowing where to go. That night, as I sat in my car, sobbing, I found an unopened letter from a law firm in Palm Beach. It turned out that my maternal great-uncle, Arthur, had passed away and left me his entire estate, worth around $45 million. He was a man who had followed his passion for art and made a fortune in the process. He had kept an eye on my career and was impressed by my dedication to art. The next day, I flew to Palm Beach. There, I met Daniel, the executor of Arthur's will. He showed me around the magnificent villa and the incredible art collection that Arthur had built over the years. It was a world I had never imagined I'd be a part of. In the months that followed, I settled into my new life. I established an art foundation to support emerging artists, using Arthur's collection as a resource. I also maintained my distance from my family in Ohio, the wound of betrayal still fresh. But one day, Ethan called, saying that he had read about my foundation and was trying to reach me. A week later, my father and Vera showed up at my villa. They were amazed by the luxury, but I saw through Vera's false concern. She was clearly after my money. I showed them the security footage of Vera stealing my mother's jewelry and the bank statements of her draining my father's accounts. My father was shocked and heartbroken. Vera's true colors came out, and she lashed out at me. I had the security escort her out and notified the police in Ohio. My father apologized, saying that he had been lonely and had made a terrible mistake. I told him that I needed time to heal, that the trust between us had been broken. Since then, my relationship with my father has been slowly mending. We've had a few conversations, and I can see that he's trying to understand me better. Ethan has also been more supportive. I'm learning to trust my instincts and value myself for who I am. I've even started dating again, a kind-hearted architect named Ryan who shares my love for art and history. Life has taught me that family isn't always defined by blood, and sometimes the worst moments can lead to the most unexpected blessings. I'm grateful for the journey, as it has made me stronger and more confident in who I am.